I need to follow up on the poltergeist activity that you described. Are you able to share a
Okay.
little bit about that? What exactly happened?
Yeah, I got to tell you, that happened in the 90s during my auction business. Now, at that time, I promised myself I would never tell another soul because I thought nobody will ever believe me that this happened. And since that time, um, I really don't care if someone believes me or not. I know it happened, and it's nothing dramatic, but it was dramatic at the time. So basically, I was in the auction business, and I was busy, but I had slow time of the year, and so it was. I believe it was early spring, and I took all the antiques out of an estate in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, where I am now, the Betty and Barney Hill. That's where they lived. In Portsmouth, New Hampshire, very historic town. But the house that I was working at was probably built in 1940, something like that. Not particularly old, and not really, a big house or anything like that. Kind of a small house, 2 floors. So I told the lawyer, I said, hey, if you're going to be selling the property, I can, after I get done taking the antiques out of it, I'll quote you a price to clean everything out and get it swept down and ready for sale. He said, go ahead, sure, do that. So anyway, I did all that, took all the antiques out, and then I took one person with me. And like I say, it was a slow time of year. And the both of us together were cleaning out the junk and bringing it to the dump, that type of thing. So there was no wind that day, had the front door wide open. And so it was chilly, but not freezing. And so I was working upstairs, and he was working, I believe, out in the garage, cleaning things out of there. So I swept down the entire top floor, basically, where there was wood. There was carpet in the bedrooms. So I swept down everything, and then I slid the broom down the stairway because I was done with it. So it was resting on the stairs. So I went into like the last bedroom there. All the furniture, everything was cleaned out, but in the closet there was coat hangers, basically. So I go to open the closet door. When I did, and by the way, all the windows are down in the bedroom. So I opened the closet door, and they had put in a carpet, and they never trimmed to the bottom of the door. So I had to yank the door against the carpet to open it. So I opened it up wide, and I grabbed the coat hangers out, handful at a time, stuffing them into a garbage bag. And so I filled it up, and I think there was some other miscellaneous. I filled up the garbage bag, tied up the garbage bag. I walked out to the hallway to set the garbage bag down, and all of a sudden I heard wham! And I go back in, and the closet door had slammed shut. And I'm looking at the windows. They're down. Storm windows are down. And then I pull the door open and yank it against the carpet, push it back, and I'm going, oh my God. And then all of a sudden, bam, the front door slammed shut. So I go running downstairs to get the hell out of there. And when I get down to the bottom of the stairs, the broom is leaning up against the door. And so I run out to the garage, and Ron had gone to the dump. So I waited outside until he got back. And he got back, and I told him, I says, I think something's happening. The place is haunted. And he's like, I'm not going in that house again alone, come with me. So we cleaned out the rest of the stuff, and he's going, ooh, teasing me and all this stuff. So we're all set to go, and I got everything out, loaded. And so he was just taking off, and there was just a couple of things on the floor. And I also had a truck, and I was putting things in the truck. And so he was taking off to the dump, and he pointed to, there was one of those flower baskets that has a great big huge hoop around it. And he worked part-time at a funeral parlor, and he says, oh yeah, I see those all the time. Jumped in his truck, and he took off. So I threw, I think it was 1 or 2 things into the truck. And then the last thing was the basket. And I go to grab the basket, and it's stuck. So I'm pulling on it, and it's stuck on the floor, and I'm yanking, and the thing breaks in half, and I toss the top half, and then I walk over to it, and I go, what could be making that stick on the floor? It just dawned on me. And I tap it with my foot, and it just slides. There was nothing on the floor.
Wow.
So that's my story. And it really happened. I'd take, I would, I've said before, I would tell you every single thing about that story is true. And, lie detector test, anything you want, I would do, but every single thing happened. And I have no idea what it happened, what it was. I can't say it was a ghost. I have no idea what it was, but it was something, and that really did happen.
Well, you mentioned it's nothing dramatic, but I can imagine it must have felt dramatic in the moment, because even hearing it, I mean, that's something that if you witness, like, what possible explanation could you draw for the cause of those things? I mean,
Yeah.
there's really, it's mystifying. Do you view these things, phenomena like this, because a lot of people have had similar experiences, we hear stories all the time. Do you think they're facets of the same type of core phenomena as UFOs, or do you think that they're distinctly a separate thing?
I kind of feel that they're a separate thing, but I will tell you, I was friends with Paul Eno, who did a radio show for years on, paranormal in general. And he was involved in a really amazing case down in Connecticut where a 200-pound refrigerator lifted up and went across the room in front of him, and police officers and firemen. They all saw it. All these things were happening in this house. But his thought was that they were all interdimensional. Ghosts, Bigfoot, you name it. He said everything. He said, I'm convinced that it's all interdimensional. It's all related. I tend to think that that's one of the possibilities, but I also, my own thoughts is that possibly this didn't feel like anything that could have to do with UFOs. My personal opinion when I was there.